don't know, Robert, I think you and I have talked about this in relation to addiction, but so many people right now in the world are turning to ways of numbing out their pain, right? And if it's not drugs and alcohol, it's opioids or social media. And there's Jay Holder, his research in chiropractic, vitalistic, principle-based chiropractic was a lot on addiction. And there's a long history of chiropractors working with people who struggle with addiction and mental health, where they're doing chiropractic and they're helping people not just recover from pain, but the nervous system connected to how we process emotions, which is a lot of what we worked on that day too, that I saw you. Absolutely, there's so many benefits for people who struggle with addiction and mental health. But if we keep putting out into the world that chiropractic is just back and neck pain and cracking backs and cashing checks, then we don't realize like there's so much more here for our profession and for people. And that's primarily what my office focus on, is beyond the pain. There's so many people who come in with trauma and mental health and addiction, and we help them. And that's literally our signature flavor, is they're like, we go to this chiropractor because she does something different. It's not just about cracking necks.
Welcome to the Chiropractic Authority Podcast. Now, if you've been here for a while, you might be thinking, oh, wait, wasn't this called None of Your Business with Robert DeLude, the podcast dude? Yes. Yep. Same feed, same voice, same mission at the core, just a clear focus. We didn't start a brand new show on purpose. Over the years, None of Your Business reached a lot of people: entrepreneurs, creators, operators, people overcoming challenges in their life, looking to build something real. And along the way, chiropractic kept showing up again and again and again. Not as a trend, but it literally changed my life. Chiropractic is one of the most understood, undercommunicated, life-changing professions out there. So instead of walking away from the audience that already trusted the show, we decided to evolve it. This podcast is now primarily for chiropractors, especially those who believe chiropractic is bigger than pain relief, bigger than crack videos, bigger than $29 specials. Chiropractors who see this work as a calling, a philosophy, and a responsibility. But here's the bigger play. A good portion of you listening right now aren't chiropractors, and that's intentional, because the more people actually understand what chiropractic is, what it stands for, and what it can do, the bigger impact it becomes. So whether you're a chiropractor looking to lead, communicate, and build real authority, or someone who's followed this podcast from the very beginning and is curious to finally understand chiropractic beyond the surface, you're in the right place. This is the Chiropractic Authority Podcast. Let's get into it. Mel, what's going on?
Life, Robert. Happy to be here. Life is happening.
Life is happening.
In all the greatest ways.
Yeah, absolutely. So if people are still subscribed to my old podcast, they're like, why did the name change? What's going on? I decided to change it to the Chiropractic Authority Podcast. Mel has been a guest on my previous show a few times. So
yes,
if you want to go learn more about her, go listen to those episodes or tune to this one. Mel, you're a chiropractor. Obviously, that's why you're on that Chiropractic Authority Podcast. I understand you didn't grow up with chiropractic care and actually came into it through a rugby injury. So how did that experience shape your entire life?
Yeah, it altered the trajectory of everything. When I went from feeling like I was 20 years old on top of the world, as you do when you're 20 playing rugby across the world, to feeling like the very thing that really is saving your sanity at the time is taken away from you. Reflect on life. And my teammate at the time said, hey, you should go to this chiropractor. They do something very different than traditional models of chiropractic, essentially. And I said, okay, I thought all chiropractors did the same thing. Mind you, as you said, I did not grow up with chiropractic. My mom was a person who was like, rub some dirt in it and you'll survive. The benefits of growing up with a single mom who didn't really believe in taking us to the medical doctor every time something went wrong. So I feel like I already had some chiropractic philosophy without even knowing it. But when I got injured, I sprained my AC joint. And anyone who knows that joint in your shoulder, it helps you a lot in living your life and playing rugby, which is full contact tackle. And I went from feeling like I was 20 years old to couldn't sleep laying down, had to sleep sitting up in a chair like an 85-year-old dude. Felt like I couldn't breathe. And the thing, athleticism was a way that I channeled my emotions and my trauma. And so I went to this chiropractor, and before he even touched my spine, he educated me on the vital importance of getting to the underlying wounds in the nervous system. And so I went in initially with this injury, and he starts working with me. Doesn't even really work with my shoulder. He works with my spine and my nervous system. All of a sudden, my shoulder starts healing. I start sleeping better. I start losing weight, which was not really a goal. This low back pain I had went away. My menstrual cycles got better. And as soon as I saw, Robert, my menstrual cycles getting better, I was like, okay, there is something to this art, to this science, to this philosophy, to this profession that is way more than just back, neck, and shoulder pain. And so from that moment, I said, whatever this guy is doing, I want to learn it. And in that moment, I started looking up chiropractic schools, and here we are. That was 2013. It's 2025 right now. So you do the math, right?
I have a similar experience.
Yeah.
Dr. Mel was the very first chiropractor to ever touch me. I grew up in a household where if you go to the chiropractor, you die. And then I saw the adjustment videos, people getting a bag of potato chips. I went to one of your immersions, and you barely touched me. And when you told me to get up off the table, I was like, I just got ripped off. And then you asked me how my shoulder felt, and I was like, holy shit. Holy shit. So
what shoulder was it again? Was it your right shoulder?
Yeah, my right shoulder.
Yeah, mine was my left. So I feel like that's really interesting parallels.
Yeah, for sure. It was insane that I was like, I'm going to get a bag. Honestly, like the flight over to Minneapolis, I was like, I'm going to get a bag of potato chips. This is going to be awesome. And then I didn't. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah.
So from your experience alone, the one time that you barely touched me, you like told me to inhale, exhale, lift up my feet, and fucking done. Was there stuff before that? Yes. But
yes,
the initial check, I was like, did I just get ripped off?
Of course. Yeah. Would you say you did not get ripped off?
Oh, 100%.
And you had that shoulder pain for what, like over a decade?
Yeah. So I think then it was 14 years.
Yeah.
I was in 7th grade from a car wreck. And that car wreck, I was in pain. I kept going to doctors like, hey, I'm in pain. Something obviously wrong. The doctors are like, you're fine. They would do x-rays, MRIs, yada, yada, yada. And they're like, you're fine. I was like, obviously there's something wrong. So I turned to painkillers.
Yeah.
I don't know if I went to a chiropractor first, if that would have saved me from addiction.
Yeah.
Because with you touching me for 30 seconds and the pain was gone, which when I went to go find the relief through drugs and alcohol, maybe it would have saved me.
I think you and I have talked about this in relation to addiction, but so many people right now in the world are turning to ways of numbing out their pain. And if it's not drugs and alcohol, it's opioids or social media. And there's Jay Holder, his research in chiropractic, vitalistic, principle-based chiropractic was a lot on addiction. And there's a long history of chiropractors working with people who struggle with addiction and mental health, where they're doing chiropractic and they're helping people not just recover from pain, but the nervous system connected to how we process emotions, which is a lot of what we worked on that day too, that I saw you. Absolutely, there's so many benefits for people who struggle with addiction and mental health. But if we keep putting out into the world that chiropractic is just back and neck pain and cracking backs and cashing checks, then we don't realize like there's so much more here for our profession and for people. Primarily what my office focus on is beyond the pain. There's so many people who come in with trauma and mental health and addiction, and we help them. We help them. And that's literally our signature flavor is they're like, we go to this chiropractor because she does something different. It's not just about cracking necks. There's so much more. So anyway, I think your story is so powerful because it's not just about the pain piece. It hits those deeper wounds, which was my experience too. I was using sports to numb out my anger and emotion from childhood, but you better believe I was using alcohol and other substances to numb out from this deeper pain in which my physical pain was just a downstream effect of.
Yeah. Yeah. Growing up, I never would have thought that at all.
Same.
In middle school, my best friend in middle school, his dad was a chiropractor.
Really?
Yes.
See, it all comes full circle.
And I would talk to my parents. I'm like, no, don't go to chiropractors. They'll twist your neck and you'll die. I was like, oh. I think that I started separating myself from that friend. Probably because I was talking shit about his dad's profession. Just regurgitating stuff that I had no idea what I was talking about.
And I think you creating this podcast is such a great way, not just for us chiropractors in our profession, but to also educate people on the power of story and the power of expanding our understanding of what chiropractic has always been, but is actually, because the public doesn't know. There's so much of that, like you said, the media out there and the crack porn, and it's not that. And to be fair, there are adjusting videos of my work out there, which looks very different and can look like we're not really doing much. Then it can also intrigue people and say, what's actually happening there? And open up a whole nother conversation. So I appreciate you having this podcast.
Thank you. So you mentioned that you went from feeling like you were 20 years old to feeling like an 85-year-old man in a single moment when you got injured. You want to dive deeper on that?
When you get tackled from a woman who is bigger than you, and I'm not small by any means, but I was definitely a small woman on the rugby pitch. Sports were the way that I connected to myself spiritually, because I grew up with some trauma and instability. And so sports were a way that I felt I don't have to focus on anything else in the world. I can just focus on me and my body and doing what I love. And so I got tackled, Megan. I can remember it to this day very viscerally. I got tackled from the right and I landed and I could hear like my rib cage and shoulders just collapse. And I knew in that moment, I can swear on this podcast, right?
You can say whatever the fuck you want.
Okay. I was like, shit, something's wrong. And I couldn't breathe. I felt immobilized. Like I couldn't move. And when you can't move a certain part of your body, you know this, when you can't move a certain part of your body without pain or feeling just stuck, that does some stuff to your mental capacity. Because moving my body was a way that I felt connected to source, connected to God, spirit, whatever you want to call it. And so in that moment, that thing was ripped away from me and I couldn't play rugby. I said, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And anyone who's been an athlete, when you can't do the thing you love, you start to question yourself. You start to lose your confidence. You start to get depressed because the very thing that you're actually expressing who you are is taken away. You lose parts of yourself. And maybe I had a lot of my identity wrapped up into being an athlete, and that's for another conversation. But not being able to breathe normally also sends a stress response to your nervous system. So that's a big thing I look at with people is if you're not breathing normally and taking full inhales in your body and your spine, you're going to live in distress physiology and you're going to perceive the world as a threat. And that's a big thing from that moment I learned to help people with is not just adjusting people, but getting them to actually like fully breathe to feel as though they're safe starts the healing process. So it was scary. I mean, thankfully it wasn't a tear because a tear means surgery and then you go down surgery and then they get the pain. Like this, I could see that whole route. I was like, oh shit, I don't want to go that route because I know what that looks like from friends, from people. Thankfully, it was just a sprain, and going to the chiropractor really helped me realize that my body has the healing power. I just have to unlock it and let that energy flow, essentially. Mm-hmm. And that's what that chiropractor taught me a couple weeks later when I went, which is very empowering. You're like, okay, I can play sports and I can get injured and my body can heal. Because I had never dealt with an injury like that up until that point in my career.
Yeah.
So
I love that. So I heard that you were obsessed with Reggie Gold and Sid Williams recordings during school.
Yes.
How did you find that philosophy education outside of the classroom? And what principle or concept really clicked for you?
Oh man, that's such a great question. So my friend Ken, shout out Ken, I'll share this podcast with him. I walk in the first day of chiropractic school, and mind you, I was not like aware of the philosophy. Thankfully, I'd gotten some of it from the chiropractor I was seeing. He's not talking about Reggie Gold at my appointments. He's talking about me, as a good chiropractor should do. Talk about your patients, talk about your clients. They want to know how much you care about them, not how much you care about the freaking philosophy. That's the truth. So I walk in, I see Ken sitting there, and he has this big green book on his desk. And I was like, what is that? So it's the green books. Do you know what the green books are? And I was like, no. So he tells me about them, and I go to the library and I start looking at them, checking them out. He invites me to the philosophy club, and all of a sudden I'm immersed in this world of the greats of our profession. And you know, when you open a rabbit hole and you just are in, and you're just going down into the vortex. The green books led me to Reggie Gold's tapes, which are all recorded on YouTube. And I started listening to them when I would be having study breaks in chiropractic school. And he starts talking about the chemistry of life and the universe and the healing power of nature. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is it. And mind you, I should mention, Robert, that before I got into chiropractic school, I was super obsessed with studying like astrophysics and quantum physics and string theory and black holes, and just a nerd for astrology and how the universe works. And so this chiropractor is literally talking about the same principles and applying it to human healing. And I said, that was an epiphany moment of, whoa, if there's a profession that bridges this gap between the universe and healing and how we can help people, I'm in. Our philosophy, again, is not just about spines and back pain and neck pain and honestly even health, but it's literally about the expression of life through our physical matter to help people live to their fullest potential. Because we are made of atoms, we are made of molecules, we are made of chemistry, we are made of DNA, as is the rest of nature. And chiropractic helps the expression of that. So yeah, I went hard. I became the president of the philosophy club. I became the president of the network spinal club. I became the president of the business club. I'm a little bit of a try hard, if you can't tell, but it changed me.
No, that doesn't sound like you at all.
It changed me. So I would drive in my red Dodge Neon, bless that Dodge Neon, and like I would get tapes from the library and listen to Sigafuse and Reggie Gold and DeMartini and Fred Barge. And back when we had CDs, it wasn't all streamed on YouTube. And I would just listen every single morning driving to school, 6 a.m. And I would just rock out to chiropractic philosophy and the greats in our profession.
I love that. There's often a disconnect between chiropractic philosophy and actual practice. So how were you able to bridge that gap?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is, one, you have to listen to people, because if chiropractic is the expression of life through people, then you need to understand what is it in that person's life that drives them. And do they feel like they have access to it or not? So listening to their values, number one, versus if I try to make it all about me, then I'm going to lose clients left and right. So the biggest thing I learned is really listening to people. What are their values? What drives them? What in life matters to them? And where do they feel like they have less access to that? And how can I bridge that gap between chiropractic and them? Is really educating them and saying, hey, look, chiropractic, it's all about the expression of life. It's helping you function at 100%. And here's how we do it through the spine and the nervous system. I do a series of scans in my office, so that really helps bridge the gap. I think as a chiropractor, you've got to have ways of analyzing people's systems and saying, hey, here's what we're finding. You have to be a practitioner and say, this is what I see. Here's where your challenges are. Can you see how that would relate to X, Y, Z? And when you ask better questions, you get people to bridge the gap themselves. Versus, okay, imagine, Robert, if you came into my office and I'm like, okay, Robert, so our profession has been around since 1895, and there's this thing called innate intelligence, and I'm not even talking to you. I'm not even connecting to you. And chiropractic is about connection, right? It's baked into our principles and our philosophy. So if you can translate that as a young practitioner, maybe you're veteran and you need some support in that, you really have to say, how can I connect these things to this person's life and what matters and where they feel expressed versus where they feel suppressed. So I make it all about the person, right? Because chiropractic is about people. It's about people expressing who they are and getting them back to what they love. And we can help do that through addressing the spine and the nervous system and subluxation. But you don't lead with that. You got to lead with what someone really cares about. And as I said earlier, people don't care about as much as you know until they realize, I totally just botched that statement, but you know what I'm saying? Yes. People care that you care about them. They don't really give a shit how much you know. They really don't. They really don't.
People don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care.
Boom. Thank you. I fucked that up. Thanks for saving me.
No worries. No worries. No, I love that. So for new graduates coming out of school that may lack strong philosophy and training, what advice do you have for filling that gap?
So we're assuming that they've already graduated?
Yes.
Because I would say my hope is that this podcast gets to chiropractic students. Start while you're in school. And the way I see chiropractic is it's not just a triune, it's a cube, it's a square. Because you've got to have the art, you got to have the science, you got to have the philosophy, because it's not just a philosophy of bodies, it's a philosophy of life, which can apply to all areas of your life. And then you got to have the business piece too. And I'm a big fan of having mentors. I have had mentors and coaches since age 5 because I'm a big fan of mastery and I want to be the best in whatever it is that I'm doing. So I've had soccer coaches, rugby coaches, communication coaches, people coaching me on the philosophy, people coaching me on business, people coaching me on mindset, people coaching me on the science and getting better with like, how do you see someone for the first time and eradicate 20 years, 15 years of shoulder pain in a matter of seconds? That's mastery. That's all the years of experience I've had, and I can create that in 30 seconds.
Which was pretty insane valuable, experience.
Right? I bet. Now, we should mention too, like on the other side of things, you are a person who has a readiness to grow and a readiness to change, whereas some people who I call them, they're dense. They're like dense motherfuckers. They're like unwilling to make change. Like you had flown all the way to Minnesota, right? So that tells me there's something about your system that's ready for change and transformation. And people who I find come into our world, change can be instant. It can be instantaneous versus people who are very dense and they're resisting the change. Sometimes it takes more time. But I tell people, look, healing doesn't have to take time. Healing can happen instantaneously when a system, i.e. a person, is ready for it and they're open for change. So we create these myths and paradigms of healing takes time. No, it doesn't. You can create transformation in an instant through the quantum realm when someone's actually ready and you truly connect with their soul. And there's strategies of doing that. But to answer your question, to circle back, you've got to have mentors. I still have mentors. I've been in this profession for almost 10 years. I still have room to grow. And so humbling yourself, and if you can't afford a mentor right away, buy the books, listen to the free stuff, listen to podcasts like this, fill your soul and your brain with this so that you become the giants that you hang around with.
I love that. If you guys are loving this podcast just as much as I am right now, and you want to learn more about Dr. Mel, where can people find you on the interwebs?
drmelkrug.com. Instagram, I am very active. I've got a ton of free resources on there, at dr.melkrug. If you go to the link tree in my profile, I've got courses, books that are free or super low ticket. I am coming out with my book, Business by Design. So that's drmelkrug.com/business by design. And if you are brand new into practice or you're looking to reinvigorate how you do practice, maybe you're out of network with insurance and you're going cash or you're shifting your models, this book is for you to help you build a business by design rather than by chance and not get caught up in the chaos and actually enjoy yourself while building a business. So that's what I've got going right now. But I'm very active on Instagram. Send me a DM. Like, I will respond to you. It will not be a robot. It will be me. Anything Dr. Mel Krug, you will find me.
If I remember, I will put this stuff in the show notes, but that is a strong if I remember.
Oh my gosh. I do the same thing where I'm like, I'll put it in the show notes. And then my person's publishing it. I'm like, ah, shit, I forgot those links. Here's the thing. I feel like if people want stuff bad enough, go find the person on the thing. Even if it's not in the show notes, I think when people take initiation and they actually take responsibility for their life and they go searching for something, you're going to be a person who attracts results because you're putting the energy into the universe to create the results. And you're not just waiting like a passive bystander for like life to happen. So go out and get it. Go out and get after it. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know the numbers on this. This is just my theory.
Let's hear it.
But I don't think, or the number's very low, or people are like, I'm going to go to the show notes and get that.
Right.
When everything is linked to Google. So the more websites and the more better keywords that you have in your podcast, it's going to rank your podcast for a better SEO. So if anything, my theory is you putting a link in the podcast is just helping your website be on another SEO platform.
Yeah.
Again, I don't have the numbers. That's just my theory. Because the better transcript and keywords that you have, the better your podcast will show up. So maybe I'm full of shit. That's just my theory.
I think that makes sense from everything I've studied from people. Not you're the expert in that stuff, but that to me makes sense. And people listening, if you want to up your content game, then you got to talk to Robert.
Hey guys, real quick. So if you're a principal chiropractor and you're sick and tired of watching sellout clinics dominate in their market, but you're too afraid or you don't know exactly where to get started with social media, I created something for you. It's called the Chiro Authority and it's on the platform School. Link is going to be in the description there. So it's going to have all my templates, all my systems, all my prompts, everything that I use for my clients to make them the go-to chiropractor in their market. I don't work with chiropractors who do $29 specials, who do crack videos, or make themselves look like a 12-year-old girl on TikTok. It's going to be $29 a month to get into the group. That is more just a joke because I hate $29 specials for chiropractors. The link will be in the description in this video or show. Would love to have you in there. And if not, I hope you are enjoying the show. So let's get back to it. All right. You went to you went to school 2013, graduated around 2017. You opened up your practice like 4 or 5 months out of school? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Graduated 2016. How? You have to be a little bit of a psychopath, honestly.
What do you mean by that?
As you can hear, when I find something I'm really into and really inspired by, I do not quit. I rest. Maybe not starting a practice, I did not rest. That's in my book. Early on in school, I had life-changing moments. And on the weekends, I was going to seminars. I was going to learn from mentors, right? You're in school all day from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And you better believe you have homework up the fucking ass. And then instead of doing my homework, I would go learn from mentors at their offices about certain things from 6 to 8 p.m. And then I would do homework from 8 to midnight. And then I would wake up and do it all over again because I was so on fire for chiropractic because it changed my life. And I saw my brothers. I mean, you would love to have my brother on. He's not a chiropractor, but he's my office manager.
Yeah.
And his life was saved by chiropractic. Not even changed, but saved. That's for another conversation. But so I dedicated my life in school to learning the science, the art, the philosophy, the business. And so then when I got out, Robert, I felt confident in what I was doing because I had learned from mentors and humbled myself. I lived with my mom. I didn't pay rent, which I'm very grateful for. There's pros and cons to living with a parent, but I'm very grateful I could do that so I could take the resources and invest it into myself. So 4 months after I graduated, Inspire Life is up and running, not without challenges. I would definitely do it different this time around, but that's all in my book where I walk you through how to do it, what to pay attention to, all the way down to step-by-step signing a lease, your tenant improvement allowance, how to navigate things with a broker, how to navigate things with your landlord, marketing, all of that. But I just went I went ovaries to the wall, and it was stressful. I don't want to give chiropractic students the idea that it's going to be easy. Like, entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. So I think it's really important to understand your values. And if business and entrepreneurship is not within your top 4 values, then maybe reconsider starting a business. I think a lot of people go into this business of this fantasy that everything's going to be easy and you're going to be your own boss, but then you're your own boss and you have to take responsibility. And when you're an entrepreneur, you're working more usually than a 9-to-5 person in the beginning phases of business. And I'm sure you can agree to that. Like, you're putting in full days. You're putting in full fucking days.
Yeah, I'm 16 hours. Like, hopefully only 12 hours some days.
Yep. And it gets better, right? As you grow, I think it's important too. Like, when you put in the work now, then this is what I like what the Hormozis talk about, Alex and Layla Hormozi. Put in the work now. And then if you really commit to yourself as far as a chiropractor, you're through your first 5 years, things really open up because you've built the momentum and you've built the consistency. You can hire teams. I'm only in the office now 9 hours a week because it's allowed me to step away. I've built my team, the systems run, and I'm able to grow my coaching business, in which that's now I've scaled that to a couple hours a week because I'm buying back my time. But this is 9 years in the game. 9 years in the game. When I first started, I was in practice all day. I was doing workshops. I was going to marketing on the weekends. Like, I was figuring out website stuff at nighttime. And that's the game. If you really want to excel at entrepreneurship, you've got to be real with yourself and say, do I really want this? And nothing against people who are associates or have jobs. Nothing against that. We need really good chiropractors who are associates. I love my associate. She's amazing. She's an amazing practitioner. It's just business is not her highest value. And that's actually a perfect synergy for us. I could go on, and that's a whole nother podcast, Robert. You and I could dive deep for like 3 hours, but I digress.
Fair enough. All right. So you started 2017.
Yep.
Trying to get the ground going.
Yep.
Maybe see a light at the end of the tunnel. COVID happened.
Yeah. 3 years after opening.
So you do a different technique than, you know, what the cracking necks and blah, blah, blah.
Cash and checks.
Yeah. How did you market yourself during COVID to get people in the door?
Yeah. So thankfully, shout out to the people who opened a business in 2020 and you're still alive. Like, you are built differently. Shout out to you. Thankfully, I started marketing myself before I graduated, and with the intention that I was different. So knowing your unique selling proposition, knowing your niche, how you're different, why that difference creates the competitive advantage. So to be fair, I had been marketing myself for about 4 years before COVID happened. So I had built a really solid foundation of regular practice members who, bless you all if you listen to this, our revenue got cut in half in 2020. And thankfully, we were running on really decent margins where we could get by, we could still pay ourselves, and benefits to having systems. But I had marketed myself already and that we were different, and really addressing the nervous system, root traumas, how we go beyond just physical, but addressing mental, emotional challenges and how that shows up in your life. So the marketing had been done a lot on building our community. And so we already had a solid community of people who refer a lot. So I have a very high referral-based practice. In COVID, honestly, Robert, we weren't concerned about getting a bunch of new people. We were very focused on retention. And I think that's a big thing that people skip over, is we can get so addicted to like new people. You definitely need new clients to run a business, but you also want to make sure your retention play is not a leaky bucket. And so we went hard on supporting our people, and we brought a lot of our things that we were doing in person online. One of the things that we did is we brought in other experts in the community that we collaborated with to do online workout classes, online breathwork classes, online teaching. I would go live every single week and feed into my community to talk about the importance of your nervous system and your immune system, to talk about top 10 tips to support your immune system right at this time, or talking about how can we become more resilient as a community and not let this take us out. So while my revenue dropped in half, we really focused on serving our people and saying, hey, no matter what is going on, you are welcome here. And if you choose not to come back, we totally get it, but we are going to stay open because we were essential providers, but you are welcome here. And I think some of my best practice members that I absolutely love started in 2020. And because they saw, they're like, oh shit, the world's doing some weird stuff. I got to make sure I'm set. So we marketed ourselves that way and say, hey, if you're worried about what's going on and you're looking for more resilience, more adaptability, if you're an entrepreneur and you want to make sure that your mindset and your body is good to go so you don't collapse, this is the place for you. We can help you do that through the care we offer in this practice. So we go beyond pain, right? We talk about how your nervous system adaptability relates to being a better mom, being a better partner, being a better spouse, being a better business owner, right? The things in life that people actually care about. What happened is all of that energy we put into our practice, 2021 was my best year yet when I was a solo practitioner and bodybuilding, by the way. 2021 actually became my best year in practice. Now we've since shot through the roof as far as those goals because I got 2 practitioners now in the office. But I think 2020, it was challenging. It was tough. And there were times where like, how are we going to make payroll? And we did it, but it was all through really supporting and loving our people, which then naturally led to those referrals. Well, so I know that was a long-winded answer, but.
No, you were talking about bodybuilding. I think I met you in 2022?
Yeah, after I was done. Yep.
And I remember at the event that I met you at, you're like, yeah, I am like 6 weeks out till the competition. And
yes,
like,
that was 2021.
Traveling? Yeah, okay.
Yep.
And I was like, like, damn, doing meal prep, like eating clean while traveling that's not a lot of people can do that. So you're just a badass person.
Thank you. Discipline. I do attribute, my mom is very disciplined. My brother is very disciplined. And I've been tenacious and ferocious since I was a young kid. I think trauma is trauma, but there are some blessings that can come from it. And it really opens your eyes to what actually matters in life. Like so many people walk around and bitch about things that don't matter. When you have really intense moments in your life, you get awakened to what actually matters. And you stop caring about the petty shit that really doesn't make your life better. And I learned that at a very young age. I said, okay, this is where I'm going to focus. I was the kid that never missed a day of school. I went to school with mono one time, which is your spleen is about to explode. And my mom's like, you can stay home. I was like, no, I must learn. Like, I can't. And again, my trauma response was hyperachieving, hyper going after things, like super drive. And I've learned to balance that out over the years. But thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm learning how to chill a little bit now.
So would you describe yourself as a recovering overachiever?
Yes, 100%.
And what was the breaking point that made you realize you needed to change that?
Oh, I think there's been many moments. The first was ending up in the hospital a month before my business opened.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that's in my book. I was going so hard because it needed to be a certain way and it needed to open. Like there was so much pressure on myself of needing it to be perfect. And I ended up at the hospital and I had to take a week off, and that was a blessing in disguise. That was one moment. There have been other moments in practice that I realized that I can't force things to happen. I think entrepreneurship is one of the biggest spiritual journeys that you'll go on, and you really uncover a lot of these either supportive or self-sabotaging patterns that you really have to face in order to grow your business. But I got humbled pretty quickly into practice, ending up in the hospital. When COVID happened, that was another one, realizing I can only control so much. I can't control what the government is doing. I can't control what the officials are saying. because every single week it would change. I think I attribute a lot of that too to having the right people around me to remind me of my purpose and to not get caught up in my ego. In 2020, I also went through some challenges with Ben and I, my husband, and we had just gotten married February 22nd, 2020. We went on this beautiful honeymoon in New Zealand. We came back, the world fucking shut down. And it was hard for us because him and I, we like to travel. We like to do things. We are not homebody. Well, we like home, but we like to do shit. Yeah. We're not just going to sit on the couch and do nothing. And it brought up some shit. And I looked at him and I said, if this is how it's going to be, I don't know if I want to be married. And this was literally 2 months into marriage, mind you. We had been together since 2013. But I think people think that the lesson in entrepreneurship is going to come through your business, but it will show up in your health. It will show up in your relationships, and it's all interconnected. So that moment was a pivotal moment of me humbling myself and realizing I can't just push through things. I need to look at my own stuff. And him and I went to somatic therapists, and it was amazing, and have done a lot of personal growth together and separate, and realizing I definitely have tendencies of trying to force things with my ego from childhood. And while that drive can be helpful, it can also be hindering at times too. So yeah, there's definitely been some wake up calls, and you either learn to listen to the wake up calls or you don't. When I got into network spinal, the technique that I do, my first network spinal session, the next day, this was in chiropractic school, I ended up in the hospital with some excruciating pain. And it was a wake-up call to a lot of the trauma that I had repressed. And it helped me realize how to do life a little bit differently, a little bit more balanced. I'm still tenacious and ferocious. I work smarter, not harder now. So I can get done in 2 hours what could take someone maybe a week, because I'm super laser focused and I know how to turn things on and off. I know how to channel that energy more than just go all the time. So I don't know if that answers your question, but that's what came through.
It does. And as you were talking, it was just a reminder of shit, I don't need to go all the time. Actually, on Sunday, I couldn't move. I could move, but I was so tired. I don't know the last time that I just laid in bed all day, besides being sick.
Yeah.
And I slept pretty much all day, and I was like, holy shit, I didn't realize how much I needed that.
Yeah. Yeah. Good for you. I'm glad to hear that from you.
At Mile High, I was at the booth, and then I would go to my room and I would edit videos and stay up till XYZ, get up, wait for the shitty internet from the hotel, take fucking forever to upload shit. And then I repeatedly didn't have any rest. And trying to sleep on an airplane, that never works, because
no.
Yeah.
In the beginning of entrepreneurship, it can feel like a grind. And there's so much people been like, some people speaking and preaching to the grind, and then other people saying, fuck the grind. And I think the grind can serve at certain times. But working smarter as an entrepreneur is having the self-awareness of when to turn things on, realizing that you're in a grinding phase. Also having the self-awareness and mastery of, okay, this isn't going to be sustainable forever. So when can I put a stake in the ground to say, this is my rest day? So I know right now, for example, I'm going to be going into more of a launch phase for my Project Linus program in December. So I'm intentionally modulating my energy, knowing that launch phase, there's a little bit more energy involved, but I've learned over the years, you've got to learn how to modulate it, just like the nervous system, right? There's the sympathetic side, which is the go-go and the drive, and then there's the parasympathetic, which is rest and digest. And true health and healing happens in the center, when you can adapt and turn it on and off when necessary. That is the core chiropractic principle, is adaptability. The ability to know when to go and when to rest. And that to me is mastery when we relate that to entrepreneurship. Mic drop.
Yeah. That.
Damn. Are you speechless now? Did I leave you speechless?
You
Great.
do that often.
That's my goal. I do that often. I like to do that.
Yeah. Wow. I am speechless. So the future and vision for Inspire Chiropractic. Did I say that right?
Yeah. Inspire Life Chiropractic Center.
Okay.
It's a long word.
Yeah.
We just say Inspire Life.
Where do you see your practice and your mission going the next 3 to 5 years?
Something that I've envisioned for a while since chiropractic school. I got the download in like trimester 2. In the back of histology class was building a healing center. And I know that I'm already doing this in one form. It's just an expansion. I would personally love to own land and have a bigger center where people can fly in and come for an extended period of time and receive the care that they need. If they're an entrepreneur and they need a reset, being able to create this almost dojo type experience where whether it's chiropractic care or maybe you're an entrepreneur and you're looking for some inspiration, because I think when we change environments as entrepreneurs, it can really elicit creativity in the mind, which is why I think I love to travel. And when you change your environment and you change your patterns, it triggers different parts of the brain. So the chiropractors back in the day, in the early 1900s, they had centers that the sickest of the sick would come and they would receive care. They had some chiropractors had landing strips where planes could fly in near their center. So yeah, I would love.
Palmer had a 164 room hotel.
I would love to create something like that. And I've got the frameworks. I've got the financial projections. It's only a matter of time. And I know that because I know who I am and I don't just think about things. I make shit happen and I trust the timing of that. So that's something that I've been working towards in the next couple of years is just whether it's a new center for Inspire Life or it's a sister center. But I think something that I see missing in our world is also being integrated with nature. And nature is so healing. I love nature. I have spent the majority of my life hiking and traveling and going into the mountains. And my brother and I would play outside all the time and I would study nature. And I think that's just missing. We're so sucked into like our computers and technology, and that's important. But I want to see more of this integration and remembering that we live on a planet in which we came from nature. And I think if we can remember our roots, we'll treat the planet differently, truthfully, and treat ourselves differently. So that's my bigger legacy vision. If I were to die, what I want to leave behind, I want to create a center that encompasses health and healing and holism and human consciousness where people can really remember who they are.
When did you, you've expanded your practice that you talked about, you're in there 9 hours a week. Now you're growing your coaching. I know what you do in there.
Yes.
But there's souls that might not know what you do in there. So what is your non-elevator pitch to that?
So my signature program, Project Linus, is all about helping people transform their trauma and their fear and survival instincts to more courage and confidence and clarity and certainty in all areas of their life, mainly their business, their relationships, and their health. And Project Linus is it's from my heart and soul. It's the program that I wish I had growing up because it encompasses not only just the mindset work and the strategy work, but also the physical, the somatic work. And it's a beautiful blend of connecting to your soul purpose, working through these things in our bodies with science as well as strategy. So it's my 6-month program that teaches people how to heal and transform their trauma once and for all, so you don't have to keep struggling, as well as build unstoppable confidence, because that's one of the big things I see, especially with women, which it is geared towards more women in any of my coaching programs. But I have worked with men, of course, is when you can feel courageous and confident, you can take risks because you feel confident in who you are and you don't let the fear programming dictate your life. And that then leads to more wealth. And I don't mean just money, but more time, more energy, more creativity, better relationships, right? Yes, making more money is great, but you could be a multimillionaire and a fucking asshole. But if you could have more time with your kids, quitting your job and doing what you love, like that to me is what matters. So it's teaching people through my signature methodology how to do that and how to get more access to that from a body, mind, soul perspective. So there's your non-elevator pitch.
And links in bio if they want to learn.
Links in bio. Maybe links in bio.
Maybe. All right.
Yeah, I like the mystery. If there's not the links in bio, then the right person is going to be like, all right, I'm going to actually put effort into looking this up.
They're facts. Fair enough. Fair enough. So, is there anything I didn't ask you that you think is important for chiropractors to hear?
Oh, I like that question. To respond with a question. I think that the question would be, when am I going to see success? Because so many people have unrealistic expectations of what it takes to grow a successful business. I do say that, like, we were profitable month 1. My business brought in sub 20K, but that was 9 months of work leading up to that moment. And so if I were to tell people, when are you going to see success? You need to let go of your unrealistic expectations and be real with yourself, because you will see success the moment that you stop playing into these fantasies of when you think it's going to happen. And simultaneously, you have to have a plan. So many people start a business and they have no fucking plan. They have no plan of their marketing. They have no plan of their systems. They have no plan of how to grow themselves. There's no plan. They're just like flying by the seat of their pants and by happenstance. So that would be a question and answer that I would give to chiropractors in this moment.
Okay. So I'm going to ask the final question. You might just say the same thing, but what's the one message you want every chiropractor listening to walk away with today?
You are your best asset. Yes, your technique matters. Yes, your business acumen matters. Yes, your systems matter. Yes, your clients matter. But at the end of the day, you are the center of your universe. You are the center of what you are creating. And so you, as your best asset, better invest in yourself. Because the moment that you clear the trauma, heal the shame, clear the emotional baggage, your business will take off. I promise you. So stop putting yourself last and realize that you are your best asset.
I love that. I love that. Dr. Mel, thank you again for another hour of your time.
You're so welcome.
I always love connecting with you. If you guys haven't followed her by now, go follow her. She has the Project Linus podcast, right?
I have a Project Linus podcast. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go follow her on all the things. You got a podcast. I would go check it out if I were you. Go follow her.
Thank you.
And when is your book coming out?
Literally in any moment. We're just finishing up some final details, but literally it's here. It's just on the back end. There's some things we're taking care of, but it's here. So you can order it.
People, when it's available for purchase, is it going to be on Amazon? Is it going to be link in bio? Like what?
Link in bio, self-publishing. So it will be on my website. It'll be on links, not Amazon yet, but it will start with my website.
Awesome. Cool. I've read some of the stuff that she's put together. I've experienced her coaching, her events. Go check it out. And until next time, we'll see you on another episode of the Chiropractic Authority Podcast.